Welcome to Ken Reviews. I'm Ken, Mr. I'm gonna watch it so you don't have to. And this is the review for Aquaman, The Lost Kingdom. This review is brought to you by Fix It Rich, a handyman you can trust. Now remember all this stuff that he was gonna build for me to be my sanctuary into this space? Watch him do his work, watch him. And now the final product. And let me remind you, by using my code, you can get 20% off. Fix It Rich, a handyman you can trust. Now back to the review.
Years ago, I was basically unemployed. A wanderer with no home. But now, I'm a husband and a father. And I wouldn't have it any other way. I don't know how you did it, Pops.
My job was a little less stressful than yours.
Oh yeah, I finally got a job. I'm the king of Atlantis. 500 million people from every...
Several years after the events of the first film, Aquaman is forced to protect Atlantis and his loved ones from devastation after an ancient power is unleashed by Black Manta, obtaining the cursed Black Trident. In order to achieve this, he will need to seek help from an unlikely ally, his half-brother, King Orm. We explore how he balances being king, a father, husband, son, and brother. Let's discuss. Jason Momoa returns as the titled Aquaman for the last time, allegedly. For me, he's always been the most fitting casting member in the DCEU. He literally embodied Aquaman from outfits, persona, and all of it. He's still going with this surfer kind of attitude with the whoa and the bro kind of thing, which, yeah, it's entertaining, but yeah, that's his version of Aquaman. He does what he does, and hopefully Warner Brothers does a U-turn and he gets to keep his job as Aquaman. Yahya Abdul-Mateen II returns as Black Manta. And again, someone that deserves to keep his job. He's still hell-bent on revenge and the death of Aquaman. So yeah, still more of the same. And that's not to say that's a bad thing, because he does it really well. King Orm returns and he's played again by Patrick Wilson, and he was probably the best of the lot. With the best story arc out of everyone, he gets to switch up his persona from the first movie, so then he feels a bit more fleshed out. He shall not be named did not get any starring credits, so she won't get any here. Her acting here was as stale as her acting in the courtroom. Enough said. Casting is just more of the same, but when I think about it, I can only imagine how awkward it must have been on set as that case was going on. As expected, the film is special effects heavy, and somehow they did worse than the first film. Similar to the first, I felt the CGI was done well enough for all of us to forget all of this drama is taking place underwater. But also I was left baffled. Like, what's with the floating hair? Why is there so much emphasis on their hair? And the effects on that wasn't good. Just leave the hair alone. It looks really bad. I watched this in 3D, and the action scenes is where this film shines. The camera work is splendid, utilizing this kind of spinning mechanic so you can see all the fight scenes from different angles. The audio in these scenes are also done properly. Each hit feels like powerhouses are fighting, and that emphasis on audio is needed for a superhero flick. You really grasp the feeling that these Atlanteans are really tough. Locations all look similar to the first movie, ranging from a desert scene and then to a jungle scene. I get it. With no possible sequel, it felt like a let's just get through this. Rupert Gregson-Williams returned to compose the score for the sequel after doing so for the first film. And there was no standouts except for an alternate version of Skylar Green's Everything I Need. Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom goes down a different path trying to adapt the buddy comedy formula. Now, Jason and Patrick were fine as a pair, but every single one-liner joke just didn't land. And I mean every single one, every single attempt didn't land. And that made this formula not work. Big fail. Now I can give the benefit of the doubt and say, okay, maybe the writers strike, but I'm sure a lot of this was improv, or there was some improv involved. And I'm afraid it just didn't work. The idea was a good one, just not well executed. I can't help but feel like, again, look guys, there isn't going to be a sequel, so let's not put any heart into this. It felt hollow. The pacing of the film was heavily affected by the clear-cut reshoots, which for me was edited very poorly. Warner Brothers needed to man up and either just remove "She Who Shall Not Be Named" or just fully include her. You can clearly see she had a bigger role to the storyline, and a lot of her content got cut. After all, it's her baby that's in the midst of all of this. We all know her mother's protection. You can't have her just pop up every now and then. You can't fool me. It really messed with the flow. The action in the film, we loved. The decision to have this kind of possessed Black Manta who's able to go toe-to-toe with Aquaman made for a good storyline and some excellent fight scenes. Story-wise, was predictable and pretty boring. The one good story plot for me was the redemption arc for Orm. We got to traverse a different side to his villainous past. I personally will miss this version of Arthur Curry. I'm not sure this casting could ever be matched. I was looking forward to exploring all these kingdoms we were introduced to over these years. But hey, let's see what they have for him in the future. Over to you, Mr. Gunn. To be honest, I think this is the last DCEU film, and if it's not, everybody just needs to stop and just, don't do it. Just don't bother with any DCEU films at this point. The production teams clearly can't be bothered, so I'm not sure why we should. Well, you should, because I mean, I'm gonna watch them, so you don't have to. You're welcome. Was Jason the best DCEU casting? Would this have deserved a sequel? Was this film missing a major death? Would you prefer Jason Momoa as the infamous Lobos? I want to know what you thought of this film and what your predictions are for the future for this new DC universe that they're building. What do you think happens with the new Arthur Curry? Is he going to have a hook for an arm? Leave your thoughts in the comments. Let's discuss.